Okay, so good evening, Kshitij. Welcome to this Leaders and Libraries event. Before we get started, let me have the honor of introducing you to the audience. So, good evening, viewers and listeners. Welcome to Leaders and Libraries event. You have been listening to very many L&D professionals, oblique HR professionals, the last 1.5 months. We have yet another seasoned, experienced leader, Mr. Kshitij Busari, DGM, Schindler University, an avid reader of books and also an equally passionate L&D professional who's going to talk about a very, very powerful book that I'll reveal in a couple of moments from now. It's a pleasure to have you, Kshitij. Thank you for accepting the invitation and joining the force. Welcome on board.
Thank you very much, Rajiv. Thank you for having me, having considered me. It's absolutely a pleasure. I'm excited to kind of come to this platform. And the topic that we're going to speak today, of course, resonate to why we are together. And I think that's for a cause. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to have people like you, Kshitij, because very honestly, I started this as a thought process and today it seems to be moving as a movement. I'm assuming you must have seen and listened to a couple of other leaders on LinkedIn that I've posted. People are talking amazing things about the books and insights and learnings are very many. I've had a couple of calls coming from budding leaders who have actually picked up my number from nowhere and called and thanked me saying, thank you for doing this. You're pushing me to go and read the book once again that I've not read for the last 6, 7 months. So it's very, very interesting, very insightful. So
Wow.
absolutely thank you to join that league of leaders and helping us do this together. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure completely.
Super. So let's get started. I'm very excited to ask you the very first question. Book and Kshitij, how do these two words go together?
That's an interesting one. So you know what, Rajiv, my house was under renovation just recently. And all I could find out from the 4 bags that were kept in the lot were books. And 2 BHK, I had a limited space of keeping the books. So my wife said that if you want to buy a new one, you have to give few more. And that kind of gave me a good approach saying that, I will have to, for a minimalistic approach perspective, I'll give one book, to others so that I can buy a new book, But this was not the case, many years back, Rajiv. I think it was more from a hate and love perspective. Schooling days, I had no relation with books. I was an avid sports player. In fact, I played national level cricket. I had no connection with books. So, and that hatred came from a space of ignorance. I was not exposed to it. But to till date now, it is so integrated that, I ensure that every night before I kind of go to sleep, I read one page and I make sure that my 8-year-old, I read out. We both read out. So we have a specific reading 10 minutes every
Lovely.
night. So I think for me, when people say about books, people say that I found God. I think I found God in books. I found books in adversity. You must have heard the story, there's a guy in a stormy place at the sea. He says that my God will help me out. There are people who come says, I want to help. He said, no, my God will help. But I would say that apart from people, there are, and I think I found them in adversity.
Fantastic.
So I think books came to me during those challenging times. And I remember 2 books that I read at the start was Norman Vincent Peale. I was telling you about the positive thinking.
Yeah.
And then there was an interesting book called as 21 Days to Know You by Abhishek Thakur. That was the point it kind of came in and slowly this whole process started.
Fantastic. This was how many years now?
This was 20 years back. And it took me 20 years. And I think last 5-6 years, I think I've been very conscious in reading a lot.
Lovely. That's so nice. 20 years is quite a long romance with books. Huh?
Absolutely.
Super. So tell me, from a hatred for books to an absolute lover boy of books, how did this reader, Kshitij, help in the evolution of the leader, Kshitij?
Yeah. So, I'll probably give you an example what happened. So I read this book, which I was telling you about, 21 Days to Know You. And that was, I think, a 12th time where we all were doing bad in our studies and we really wanted to make our parents proud. So all childhood came together.
Right.
We used to meet on every Tuesday in a Ganesh Mandir at Nagpur. And I got this idea that when I found this book very much appealing, I said, I want to share with others. So I said that let's read out this book. I will read this book. We'll ensure that we implement it and come back next week. We will do next Tuesday, the next chapter. And this was a full book. Like, one day per day, like, just for today, I'll be grateful to someone. So all you need to do is kind of, be thankful to few people, come and share your experience. 15, 16 friends of us, we started every Tuesday. At the end, we were only 4 or 5 of us. But that entire thing, at that point of time, I never knew about learning, peer reflections, pure learning, no L&D or no jargons, nothing I remember about.
उस ज़माने में कहाँ था सब?
कहाँ ज़माना था? I had no clue about. But the whole thing that I wanted to give it to others, what I've learned.
Yeah.
And when 20 years back, when you all friends talked together, they said, hey, that thing that you started with, that had a huge impact on me at that point of time.
Beautiful.
I think that kind of, was a calling which came in, and after that time, it kind of, 5 years moving forward, the second incident was in my college days. So, Rajiv, as a kid, and I think till my college, I was introverted. I was going through inferiority complex. I never participated in anything.
Okay.
Yeah? So so in the post-graduation, I decided that I will do anything and everything because I don't want to have any regrets later on. Participated in everything, right? From dancing to singing to everything.
Lovely.
So this was my first year and the principal announced that, we are going to have a speech competition. So I raised my hand without even knowing who I have to speak about. And I had to speak about Bal Gangadhar Tilak.
Oh.
Month of August. And the thing I knew about him was he was an avid scholar. He carried books on his head while crossing a river to go to school. And I had 1 month time in hand, and I found myself in library, day in, day out to read about Bal Gangadhar Tilak as a person. First autobiography was of this legend.
Beautiful.
And I was kind of, I was staying in hostel and I realized that Bal Gangadhar Tilak used to also stay at a place, something like that. And he also had an interest towards fitness. He used to do push-ups. And so I could relate to small things where in college you relate to. And there I was on that day wearing my kurta and I delivered the speech. And I think, Rajiv, that was the biggest turning point for me in my life.
Beautiful.
First speech ever, and it blew people's mind, including mine, because I never saw that I had something in which we wanted to express so badly. I'm not that bad at all.
Right.
And people loved it. And that boosted my confidence to a very high level.
Fabulous experience.
And I think that is where I realized that I think I know exactly what I want to do. A little bit. So that again, that calling came in. That's one. Third incident that kind of came in was we had this book reviews in college. And I was given a book of psychology, which was very, and I got to know that the principal has chosen this book.
Oh.
And I tried, and I tried reading it, and I couldn't get what the book was trying to say. And I went back to my HOD and said to him that, what's the purpose? Why are we doing this book? And he said that, to make sure that people understand and they become a better human being. I said that I have a better book than this. So he said, no, you talk to the principal. So I went to the principal. I said that, I've got this book, 21 Days to a New You. And all we need to do is to kind of make sure that people are better human beings, right? So he said, no, but this is the book. I loved it most. You will present this. And I had this argument with him. And I said that, you allowed me this book once. And he said, okay, fine. I'll give you a chance. If you fail, you will have to repeat this once again next week.
Okay.
And we were 5 people who had to present this. And I said, fine. So I will send one of my HODs to see how are you doing.
Okay.
5 people, we divided the 21 chapters. And we said that in the next 20 days, we all will go back. We will implement it. Come back, and when we do the book review, we don't just talk about the chapter, we share our stories through the books.
All right.
Actually realized. And the way all 5 of us came together and started sharing anecdotes and stories from what we did, it was kind of another magical, thing that happened.
I'm sure.
And that very thing, when we were into the campus, the first company that came for the campus was Marico. They asked me one thing. What is that one thing you have done where you have challenged the system traditionally and done the thing innovatively?
And you had a story.
And I had this story which was handy to me. And at that point in time, I took feedback from people across also. And I ran this 21-day challenge also over there. And I kind of did that, led to me, my first job. So I would say if I have to connect the dots, it cannot be without books.
Beautiful.
And today also, I think whatever that we do in the L&D space, we all believe, and typically L&D people are man of ideas.
Yeah.
They're full of ideas, and I think books are the one who gives you that experience, that insights.
Correct.
What important I realize is that one should have the ability to kind of pick up that insight and implement.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love
So I
that story.
think,
That's such a
yeah,
fantastic story. I'm going to use it with your permission sometime in some of the intervention that I'll do. What I liked is, we are such a big critic of ourselves, right?
yeah,
And it just takes that one extra push to break that. And when you did that in your post graduation and graduation, and then finally got this opportunity, look at the beauty of transformation. It landed you with your job as well. I mean,
yeah,
कितना पढ़ाई के सब्जेक्ट की नॉलेज कितना उस पर फिक्र नहीं ये
absolutely,
incident gave you the job. What else do you want?
absolutely,
Isn't it
absolutely.
fantastic? Fantastic, lovely, lovely story to start. I was so happy to hear this. So tell me, so many books that you have read over the time, and you got bags and bags from your loft that you said. Why this particular book called Start with Why from Simon Sinek as one of the most inspiring book that you have chosen for the day?
Absolutely. So Rajiv, I think that book, Start with Why, has given me two things.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, it has helped me articulate my own purpose.
Beautiful.
The purpose which was there inside of me 20 years, which I was not knowing. And
Mm.
at the last 6 years, I took conscious efforts to find out.
Mm.
I think this book came handy to me when I was trying to articulate and find.
Okay.
That's one. Second most important thing is that it gave me an understanding there's a difference between purpose and happiness.
Right.
If you see, the book talks about you can get happy with your next promotion. You can get happy with completing a project.
Mm.
Book also tells about you can get happy with kind of having another vendor or doing your routine works.
Mm.
Fulfillment comes from a space
Mm.
where you are doing things from a greater cause.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example, both the example together, to yet again a small story, but I think that resonated with me so much.
Mm.
So I remember that we were doing this one intervention with our group leaders, and one of the key challenge was to make the group talk, because that was a more reserved group, and typically as a facilitator you always have this challenge at times that people do not open up. They take time to open up. I was doing this intervention, and then we came out with a concept. And if you see my purpose, one of the purpose says that to make a difference in the lives of people by helping them to learn and unlearn so that they can lead more fulfilled life.
Correct.
So that was my purpose, which I articulated for myself. And I believe unlearning is so important to learn.
Yeah.
And typically, when we have a lot of experience, we forget to unlearn. And you forget to give up at times things.
Correct.
So I was kind of, reflecting in terms of how do I ensure that this is also reflected through my program. And I kind of was thinking through, it was 1 hour before I was heading to the program. I was thinking, I thought of one experiment, to do. And then we came out with a concept called as Moment of Truth. Moment of Truth is, where you are open to talk about what is it I want to unlearn.
Right.
Yeah. And typically the program at that point of time, and I'm sure most of the programs used to start with the whole concept of the golden circle, right? And after doing that, we kind of started it. And I asked this question, what is that one thing that you would want to unlearn? Some people came up, says that I want to kind of be an early riser. I want to kind of, get up early and all this stuff. Two people who came up and said that, I want to give up alcohol. It's been addicted to it from last 25 years. And another guy came, says that I have been addicted to tobacco. And one guy says I have been addicted to cigarette. I want to unlearn that. And I had this experiment that I read just few hours in the morning. Out of the gut, I decided to do that. Maybe I'll tell you what that exactly experiment is. But cutting the short story, cutting the long story short is, they did that experiment, and it was based on the Kubler-Ross change model, right from shock till integration. Went into a 21-day challenge, into a 60-day challenge, and after 2 years, all of them are completely have done away with alcohol, cigarettes, and tobacco.
Fantastic.
And and 2 years, and with this Jan having this whole annual conference, this story of this Pankaj, was published through a video on 4,000 employees. The feeling that I had, Rajiv, at that point of time was a feeling of fulfillment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and because this guy was a 45-year-old guy, I can take his name and I can also tell you about it. And he had a kid very late in his life. And he used to say that to Kshitij, I can't do it because every time I used to decide in the morning, I used to find myself in the bar. And it was very much addicted to it, and it was a derailment for him to perform well.
Correct.
He was also an underperformer, not doing so well, and today he's doing really very well.
Beautiful.
And he had this whole thing. But what I profoundly kind of realized at that point of time is, you read something and you did an experiment, but that whole experiment came from a space from making a difference, from that purpose. If I would not have articulated that purpose of my own, I would not have thought when I was doing a workshop. I would have finished my work, would have gone back.
Right.
It came from a space to really make a difference. And Rajiv, I think that was my profound realization. And post that, I have been doing this experiment. I did this experiment with 21 people, all my current company's employees. And out of which 7 have permanently quit, remaining have kind of stopped more than 50%.
What an experience.
I implemented this on my maid also. She, and in fact, I feel that she was a leader. She's a single mother, taking care of 2 kids. And she said that I cannot work without eating tobacco. At the age of 4, she started having it.
Okay.
And I realized that, I don't know, but somebody needs to talk to her about, and I think she can do it, because I realized she was very good in terms of integrity. She was very good in terms of her principles. She was a leader, but having that was stopping her from moving forward. It took me 12 months to have an interaction with her. And one point of time, she used to get scared of me. She used to not come. Now, my wife used to tell me, "What are you doing? Don't do such experiments, at home. Do it with your office work." But the entire thing was coming from a space I really wanted to make sure that, she's done away with that. And it took her 13 months, and now she's completely tobacco free.
Fantastic, man. What a story. What a story.
But, and in that annual conference, Rajiv, when I saw that first video, I realized that's fulfillment. I had my tears were, I had tears.
I know, I can understand.
After 1 hour, I'll tell you, after 1 hour, I got this most prestigious award, the President's Award. Yeah, which is given to one person out of 4,000 employees.
Wow.
Right. So I was instantly happy. People would see my face. I was glowing, and anybody in my position would have kind of,
would have obviously
have blown. But that night, when I was reflecting, I realized that I was feeling much more pressured, because I had this award. It was a prestigious award given to an HR, that too, and out of 4,000 employees. I remember this. In Spider-Man, they used to tell, with great power comes a great responsibility. Yeah. So I feel that responsibility. But that night I realized I was happy getting an award. The intensity lasted for a few days. But the fulfillment that I got from the cause was from listening to Pankaj's video.
Absolutely.
Inspired. And his story inspired 3 more people who gave up.
Lovely.
Without me doing anything. So I think, I am grateful for the book. Again, to kind of summarize, 1, it helped me articulate my purpose. Get things that I'm doing. Secondly, it gave me a clear understanding that whatever things that you would do might make you happy. One, you will get fulfilled by working. So I think I could make that distinction clearly. And I think that's the reason I'm so much grateful to this book.
Fantastic. I mean, this is an amazing story that needs to go out. I'm going to recommend something to you, Kshitij, and please try doing this. After this event, go to LinkedIn, write to Simon Sinek. Okay. He will respond back, and I think you should do that.
Okay, sure.
He collects stories from across the world of how this book has impacted people and how people have impacted other lives through this concept. Write to him. I can't guarantee you, but I'm very sure that he will respond back. Right?
Okay.
I think great piece of story. I mean, it's so beautiful. It's like having goosebumps kind of an experience, man. Beautiful. From your colleagues to one person, 2 people in the workshop, to your maid. What I'm liking is you not only found your purpose, you're making other people's lives also purposeful. That's a huge impact, isn't it? Lovely.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Rajiv, what I personally believe is that, I never thought I had got any talent. Till date, I don't feel I have any specific talents, that I have. But what I realize is that if you have a purpose, that purpose leads you to do things which you have never thought for yourself.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah. Super.
I think that is what I think, had thrilled me. I think it gets the best out of you.
Oh, it does, because it just drives you and propels you to a different level, isn't it? Absolutely, superb.
Absolutely.
I'm very excited to talk about a couple of concepts that Simon talks about in this book, and the first one itself was so inspiring. So let me take you to the next one. He talks about the one called "There are leaders and there are those who lead." How do you see these two as distinct phrases or sentences by Simon?
There are leaders. So
And there are those who lead.
okay. Yeah, I think my whole concept is, when people follow a leader, I think they don't follow because he had a great personality. That comes secondary.
Hmm.
Or probably he's very good in terms of influencing something.
Hmm.
I think the first thing that probably people see is what is the cause that he's leading.
Right.
As Simon says, why he is doing what he's doing. And I think people look for that cause, people look for that purpose.
Hmm.
I think if they are able to figure out that, and then people will follow you. So I think for me, I think that's more important. I think Rajiv, we connected both. As soon as I got to know from you what are you doing, I think I loved the cause, and
Right.
then I got to know you as a person. But what got us together was that cause that you were doing.
Beautiful, beautiful. So tell me then, does it mean that a message from you to the budding leaders that when they are able to relate to their own cause with their leaders, then they'll be able to associate to their bosses, to their leaders, and move along with them? Should there be a connection between their own cause and the leader's cause?
Yeah, because I think that's the foremost thing that comes. If I have to see any leaders, and I think that's the foremost thing I kind of see first. What
Mm.
is he doing and why is he doing that?
Mm.
That cause attracts me to kind of know about that person. And if
Right.
I'm able to relate to the cause that he's working, I would then become his follower.
Correct.
And then
Correct.
I would listen to what he says or she does or what he
Right.
does. But
Right.
it's the
Right.
cause that you're doing. And I think over the last few years, I realized that shift, in me when I could figure out that. Because personally, Rajiv, I don't see our profession. I see our profession. I sometimes feel I'm an artist. I'm not professional. Because when I look at myself or bucket myself as a professional, I have barriers. I don't know whether my
Right.
understanding of the professional, but I have guidelines to follow. But moment I see myself as an artist, I have no boundaries. I have an
Yeah.
open canvas. I can go and paint.
Yeah, the entire canvas is open for you.
Absolutely. And I have no limitations to what ideas I can kind of come out with. I
Yeah.
can choose any color that I want to. I can do whatever that I want to.
Correct.
I think since the time I saw myself as an artist in this profession, it has just given me many avenues and many sources to do many things.
Beautiful, beautiful. I completely agree to what you're saying, Kshitij, because pretty much being a passionate L&D person like you are, I think it's a very blessed profession to be in. I mean, look at the stories that you said. All professions have impacts on organizations, have impact on lives and business and all this stuff, right? But I think the kind of impact that our profession has directly on human beings and lives is profound. Not one day goes where you go home and you lie on the bed and you think आज कुछ नहीं किया हर दिन कुछ ना कुछ किए हैं either creating a small content or delivering a small program or giving a feedback to someone or helping somebody with the problem and trying to solve the person's issue. You hit the bed, you get a peaceful sleep, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Raji, what happens, in the corporate world, we often get distracted. We often get distracted with insecurities. We often get distracted with, with a lot of other things. If we don't have the purpose very clear,
Yeah.
we often feel that, this should not have done this or it should have done this way. But only, and I could realize that when we do it, we act more superficially.
Yeah.
But if you have the why clear, and if you reflect back, take a step back and reflect back, you will be able to see the same situation very differently.
Correct.
Yeah. And then you would probably say, that's fine. I think, this is what I want to do. This is what my why is. So as long as my why is meeting, I am getting fulfilled. This is good to go. So it helps you and it guides you as a compass to take your decisions.
Fantastic. I think it's a great message to the budding leaders that I think it's important to find the purpose, and that's about going and reading the book first, guys. So go and pick up this book, inspired by the story that Kshitij is talking about. They keep the conversations on. So there's a very powerful statement that he makes in this particular book called "Fit by design and not by default."
Yeah.
Leaders. How do you see this phrase?
I remember this is an example that he gave about the company, the one company, Japanese company and the American company, where the one company keeps the end in mind, what the outcome the person keeps in mind and then kind of moves back. So I think it's very important, Rajiv. But what happens at times is, especially in the whole L&D space, to visualize an outcome. Challenge is you have to ensure that others also see exactly what you're seeing.
Correct.
And whole challenge is how do you convince that? And I'll give you one example which kind of comes to my mind. I had this one of the business case that one of the business leader gave it to me, and as soon as I looked at the business case, understood it. The first thing that I had in mind was a particular proposal, which was called it was basically change management.
Okay.
And I said that we will have to do something called as LSIP. I don't know whether you're aware of it. It's called as large scale interactive process. And it basically it's whenever you want to accelerate change faster, okay, you get this concept. This was designed way back in 1990s. And it was used for doing management by objectives, where all goals have to be taken together and done that. And it became obsolete later on. But as when I looked at the case, which was coming out very clearly of doing this whole large scale interactive process. So I proposed it. A lot of the leaders across the board, seniors, they said, no, it won't work. You are asking how many people to come together, 300 people to come together for a training session. Are you mad? It's not going to work, and then I kind of put this out for a few vendors to kind of, give me their proposals. And out of 3, 2 came with LSIP. Was at that point of time, my head of HR said, did you speak to them by any chance and told them that you want to do LSIP? I didn't do it. I attended his course 2 years back. I was kind of certified on that. Not because of that, but I really believe this is the cause. You will not believe, Rajiv, we did this session with 280 people in one room together.
Wow.
And I had to convince 17 facilitators, and all facilitators were a leadership team, because you can't manage this so big a crowd. Right. And all these 17 people became the change makers. So, long story short, we had this whole magical day together, and typically this whole concept says where there is a higher dissatisfaction, but the vision is much higher than that.
Right.
Now you do this intervention. And when we did this, the whole impact, the whole energy in the stadium was magical.
Right.
And I think at that point of time, I realized sometimes you are able to see things by design and think by design. And you should be able to articulate it. You should be able to convince it to a lot of other people, right? So I think it's very important to see the end in mind, and make sure that other people also see it, and you bring them on your table.
That's such a lovely thought. This actually sits beautifully as a precursor to the next question. I didn't know about these two kinds of leaders till I read this book. I knew about the innovative leaders. I knew novelty as a word, but I didn't know that an innovative leader is a different person from a leader with novelty. How do you see this from a long-term, short-term perspective as a seasoned leader? That's first part of my question. Second, what is your recommendation to the budding leaders who are listening to you?
So I think novelty is more of, when you add any features in your any additional thing. Typically novelty also, people mistake it in a leader parlance, we call it as jugaad. We give something extra bit and we said, and I did it innovatively, but that's not innovation at times, So innovation is something where it is having a lasting change.
Yeah.
There is a movement that goes, and people slowly are able to join that movement. So I think I kind of give this example. I just want to reiterate this further. When we had this concept, which we came out with called as movement of truth, we had to come out and tell where, people like Pankaj and Pradeep, they come forward and they share their moments of truth. Yeah. And we shared their stories, through videos. And people followed that. People came back. So it became very integral in a lot of our programs. Where people came forward and talk about their moment of truth.
Right.
Without any thinking about that, how I will be perceived of.
Correct.
Yeah. When that movement kind of becomes a revolutionary in everything that goes around, that's one behavior that drives everyone together. Then it kind of becomes a sustainable, I would probably say a process of innovation. there's now my majority of the programs at Rajiv under Schindler University that we do have this 21 days and 66 days. This is as a process, it goes on, and that is community learning, and people look forward to it. People know, oh, after this I will have to join this 21 days. I will be getting this opportunity. I will have a great learning ecosystem where I'll be equally supported by the managers. I will be equally supported with platforms where I can go out and talk about it.
Right.
People want that. What's in it for me? So I think when kind of you do something, and when that leads to a sustainable change over a period of time, that kinds of became sustainable innovation. So novelty is short-lived. It's there today. It might not be there tomorrow.
So what is your advice to the budding leaders listening to you, as they are starting their career, or some of them have finished 8 years, 9 years, 10 years in their career? What is your input to them? What should they look for? What should they do?
I think first and foremost, I personally feel that read. First and foremost, I think is take reading so seriously as the way you are taking food. So I've started 2 meals a day, Rajiv, and I said that I've replaced my third meal with a book. So I take 3 meals, but my third meal is the book. Because now in current times, you can't afford to have 3 meals because most of the day you're sitting. It's very important to make it integral. So I think my advice to the budding leaders is to keep an open mind, but make sure that you are able to pick insights from the book and see how you can relate it back to your normal life.
Right.
I always go and read books from a very selfish motive, that what is that I can pick up from the book wherein I can do something about it. And I've always been choosy about watching movies also. I figure out what is that I can learn from this. I go from a very selfish intent. So whenever I read a book, I go from a very selfish intent. What is that I can do about it?
Right.
I think books needs to be taken at times very seriously, and there are no sayers who says that, oh, he's got a bookish knowledge. He doesn't have practical experience. And people say this loose statement, that books are theoretical, but practical world is different. But I kind of somehow don't believe in that. It depends on you, because you have to customize it. You have to customize it. If you copy and paste it, work.
Yeah, it would.
My advice is to look at that as an experience, see your own life, how it is going, and then you custom tailor it and do it in your way, so that others can follow you.
Absolutely. Well, that's where the innovation also happens for the learners, right? And what you said makes tremendous sense to this, because I run an organization which is book-based, and we're talking about that. And I fundamentally believe that all the great books that I have read and you have read are not the Tinkles and Chandamamas of the world. They are books written by great authors with 25, 30, 40 years of as a nichod ke nikala experience, distilled and filtered. And they have templates, they have got techniques, they have got tools that can be just picked up and applied by anyone in their work life or personal life. So if somebody says bookish, I completely disagree, because everything can be brought out of the pages and applied if the person wants to apply, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's why the Socrates very powerful statement says, I can make a man think, but I can't make a man take an action. How powerful. Kitne saal pehle bol ke gaye. So these books can make you think, but the difference of the near great and great is how many of them pick those learnings and go and try apply. And when they apply, see the benefit, unko pata chalega ki ye work karta hai. जैसे आपने अपना कहानी बताया, I remember many years back I was running this workshop on 7 habits, and after running this program, I had a colleague of mine who used to eat non-veg for a long time, and I would tease him कि उनके घर के पास वाला जो non-veg बेचता तो 4 घर बना लिया इनको non-veg बेच के, right? So I would tease him. He took a complete work. I'm going to stop eating non-veg based on this 7 habits learning that he had been through a 2-day workshop. And it's been what now, 6 years, and it's converted into a complete vegetarian. Similar story to what you said, right? Both of us have got such stories to share. This only tells that 7 habits is actually a profound tool that can be picked up and convert a non-vegetarian into vegetarian. How can you application? This is application in life, no?
Absolutely. And I firmly believe that this application is marginal, and should be marginal and sustainable.
Yeah.
Because the moment you go for a transformation thing, very few people can do it.
Okay.
But that at times is not sustainable.
Yeah.
It should be 1% every day. But I think if you are able to do that small thing every day, I think you will have, at the end of the year, you'll be completely a transformed person.
Absolutely. I agree. Super, beautiful. We have been talking about this golden circle and we have been talking so powerful about it. Still, I want to ask you this question again. Why do you see this concept so powerful?
I think Rajiv, has been no concept which is made so simple. I mean, if you have to see, it was a very complex, but the way Simon Sinek has simplified it with three circles: why, how, and what. And I think the best part is it connects to neuroscience, it connects to biology, he connects it to psychology, And the beautiful story that he tells in the book about the Wright brothers and Leopold Langley. And I think I have shared this story in so many workshops, and people, whenever they listen to it, they feel amazed. How Wright brothers, with having no education, but with the very clear purpose in mind, they were able to kind of make that, first flight. And at the same time, Leopold Langley, who lacked purpose, who had the best minds money can buy, who was a scholar, but he lacked that whole purpose and how he failed, and nobody knows about Leopold Langley.
Yeah.
And when it comes to people around, people kind of, yeah, but I thought I get up every day in the morning to fill my EMIs, to kind of, ensure that I kind of, figure out my EMIs and work for the salary and all this stuff. And I think that's where we are operating from the what. And for me, it was 20 years. I was kind of, could not able to find out. Most of the times I was coming from the what. But moment you realize the why, it's so much of simple, and that whole thing, when it comes from the why, that is the purpose. And where what Simon says beautifully, that it comes from that brain where language, it comes from which comes from loyalty, it comes from feelings, it comes from trust. And you buy a certain product or you buy someone's views also, it comes from that feelings, it comes from that trust. And if you are able to convince that mind, which basically drives decisions, you are able to do the best work. And Rajiv, I am undergoing coaching now. I am kind of getting myself certified on coaching aspect. And in coaching, you have to dig down the other person. It's not about you. And leadership in the past have been about mostly about being directive, to now we're using many styles around, but it always has to kind of being with me as a leader. But it is all about the other person. When you deep down this whole concept of why, how, and what, it helps you to drill down with that person, asking and scratching his why to kind of figure out the best potential which is lying inside of him or her.
I agree. In
so
fact,
I think in every communication that probably I tend to do, be it at home, be it with my team, be it with my colleagues, I have this now sense of how do I want to communicate, because at times we communicate from the what, and people don't understand what are we saying. But the moment we communicate from the why, people would want to kind of understand and listen to you. And I'll give you an example, Rajiv. The first time I got this concept of golden circle, I decided to implement it. And I know as an L&D professional, we all want to do that. And the first bakra or the experiment that we do is at our home, right? This concept, why, how, and what, and it talks about communication, how it has to be from why to what instead of what to why. And I said, let me apply. So I kind of went back, and I had it was 3 years before, so my kid was 5 years old. He had this habit of keeping the toys all over the place. And whenever I used to come back from home, either I used to trip on the toys or my father used to trip on the toys, and I used to scold him, why are you doing this? Go keep it in this every day. This was a ritual. I think I'm communicating from what? Let me do it from why. So I asked him, Arjun, I want to talk to you. And I kind of took him in the room and I asked him, why do you do this? Why do you keep the toys? And he had no answer. He said, I don't know. I mean, I just like it. I said, if you do keep things properly, your grandfather will not trip. I will kind of be more happy. Your mother will be very happy. And in fact, if you keep it clean, people will call you a good habit boy. Yeah. And if you keep it, I will give you a new toy. After 2-3 days, nothing worked. He had the same thing. I said, circle is not working here. I mean, no, it's good in theory. It's not working. But I kept on doing and having a conversation with him, about the why part of it. And one day, to my surprise, he opened the door and he said, Dad, close your eyes. I want to show you something. And he showed me that the toy box was kept very properly. All toys were neat and there was nothing on the floor. I said, wow, Arjun. Lovely. And he said, give me a new toy. So all that I could say, he remembered that one thing that, give me a new toy. But I think from that day onwards, this was gone. And I realized that if you keep talking to people from why, and that conversation which I told you about with the maid that I had for I think it took time, to kind of create that. But when she herself understood the why, she automatically decided. And one day she comes and says that I have not taken, it's been a month.
Correct.
From it. That led me to believe that this concept is very powerful.
Yeah.
The only thing is you should keep doing it. You should not stop by basis 1 or 2 experiences, but you should keep doing it.
And I think that's a very strong message to budding leaders. It's about continuously following it and practicing it, not give up. Then you will definitely see the returns and benefits out of it, right?
Absolutely.
So right, Kshitij, because you know what? Before I became a fan of this man, I thought, kya yaar, ek simple sa concept, 3 questions usse pooch liya, and he starts talking on TED, and he's become a famous guy in a couple of years, as if there's no other management books. And actually, it's just so bloody simple. Something we think iske liye banda itna famous ho gaya kyunki aapko sochne mein majboor kar deta hai kabhi-kabhi. But when you read the book page by page, you realize that he himself acknowledges that he had a change in his own life, and from a Simon as a person became the Simon Sinek just when he identified his own why, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And I'm a huge fan of Apple as a product. And if Steve Jobs comes back and says, Rajiv, family chhod do, kuch jao 25 manzil se main kuch jaunga without asking. I mean, that's what Steve Jobs, and after reading that book of Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, which is the 800-page book with that Steve Jobs, face, I'm a die-hard fan. And Simon is also a huge fan. All the examples he gives from Apple and multiple other organizations very clearly says कि कितना deep-rooted ये why है. वहाँ से जब भी कुछ निकलता है, then you don't need some external push at all, right? You do it because you want to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So powerful, so powerful. Thank you so much. That's such a lovely one. So another thing which was very interesting for me, for constraint of time, we can't talk about the entire book, but I'm going to talk about 2 more concepts. This statement when I read, Kshitij, it made sense to me initially. Then it was confusing. Then again, reread it. Again, it got clarity in my own head. I have seen both, but I've never thought putting them together. Right now, I'm going to read this for you. He says, "Winning hearts and minds. Sabko pata hai ki dil jeetna hai." But the kind of example that he gives and then links it to the why and the leadership perspective, it just blew my mind away. So I would love to hear this from you for the budding leaders.
Yes, absolutely. At the end of the day, you connect to heart. When you connect to the mind, it doesn't stuck for so long. But the moment you connect to the heart, it kind of stays there for a longer period of time. And I think the whole concept of why to what helps you connect with that, the purpose of someone else who has yet to discover that. So, and I think if you see, Rajiv, when I was reflecting, when you kind of, when I was thinking about coming to this session and talking about it, you actually took me to the whole memory lane, many years back. And I was trying to connect all those dots around. And at the end, if I have to summarize all the dots around, what has exactly happened? Books, winning hearts and mind. And with that, I'm discovering my why. So I could just close the entire loop with that only one thing is win people with hearts and minds. So I think for me, this whole concept is very, very powerful, Rajiv. And I think, and that's what I can kind of tell you about this.
Why is it not mind and heart?
That's what that beauty of it again, where he says we all people, and the decision that is driven is from the heart. The trust. At times we have logics, we have rational. We say that this looks rationally well. You have to do logically well, but we don't operate from there.
Yeah.
The gut. I'll tell you, Rajiv, maybe after this.
From the time they became first-time managers, I think their entire effort should be winning people's hearts, winning hearts, and minds will automatically get won. Sometimes they just come from the MBA school, they come from their colleges, a lot of data analysis, Excel sheets, karte rehte hai. But I think if they start working on winning hearts, winning the minds will automatically fall in place. I think that's a great thing that people can start off very early in age. People like us, we learned it after some time. Had somebody told us this earlier, had Simon Sinek written the book when we were in the initial day of our jobs, probably would have done better in during those years, but we learned it
Yeah.
later part of our career. But I think budding leaders should do that earlier.
Absolutely. And I think one advice that I would like to give Rajiv is something which I've learned and burned my fingers from. It took me 20 years, but
Hmm.
what, last 5, 6 years I was mentioning to you, I had been so much conscious.
Hmm.
What's my call? What I need to do, and when we used to kind of place as a coach, I used to ask this question. I want to figure out my purpose. So help me find it.
Hmm.
I didn't leave anyone unturned to kind of talk about and help me find out my purpose. The moment I used to talk to many people around, I could realize and I could get certain insights. And very late in my life, I realized that you have to go inside. You don't have to
Hmm.
go outside.
Right.
And initial life, I kind of outside people, trying to copy them and trying to imitate them and trying to see what they are doing. It took me a long time to realize I have to go inside. I have to go deep inside, and to go deep inside, you really have to kind of read books which help you go
Hmm.
inside
Hmm.
and figure out your purpose.
Absolutely.
But you have to take conscious efforts. You might not just kind of at times you just get it. Because I firmly believe also, Rajiv, that in our daily normal journey, we get signs.
Yeah.
Whoever gives signs, but there are people who are giving you signs.
Hmm.
You have to have that ear and eye to pick up and make something out of it.
Absolutely.
So I think
Yeah.
people should kind of take conscious efforts.
Absolutely. You know what? Once your why is very clear in the head, then you will be able to clearly pick the signals from the noise. दिखता है वो.
Yes,
We can
absolutely.
pick out the signal very clearly from the noise.
Yeah.
But
And in fact, if you don't know what you want to do, but at least you will get an answer what you don't want to do.
Absolutely, I
It will
agree.
lead you to what you want to do.
I agree. I agree. I agree. You know, this famous South Indian music director Raja. You must have heard about this great man's name. You know, he's a great orchestrator of music, and he's a big violin fan. And he would have some 400 people playing violin there. And I've heard about incidences where while he is composing and the composition is happening, people are playing from standing where he is as a conductor of the orchestra. Say 81st violin, one note down, please. 217th violin, little up, please. I mean, how could you pick up a 217th violin from 400? I mean, look at the kind of focus his eardrum should be having, isn't it? The purpose is so clear that my audience should get the best celestial music that I can offer, isn't it?
True.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Superb. So that takes me to the last, but
Impact
yeah.
that has on the other person.
Right, lovely, lovely. So as I close this conversation, thank you for this fantastic chat, Kshitij. Give me, not me, the listeners, two razor sharp advices from this entirety of the experience that you have garnered over the years, being a successful leader, being a reader of books, and all that you have, and what you spoke about. Two laser sharp advices.
Okay, so maybe first of all, I think I'm still work in progress because success definition keeps changing. Every day I get up, I feel that I have lots to achieve. So we were all work in progress. So
So you're successful till date. So till that.
no, I think I also realize the more you feel, other people feel that you're successful, I think there's a biggest failure inside it. But yes, two laser sharp advices. I think number one, um, unlearn. I think I firmly believe that to learn, you have to have this honesty to unlearn something.
Beautiful.
That's number one. Second, I would say is um, if you have a purpose, great, leverage it. Don't take conscious efforts. There's a famous saying, I think Swami Vivekananda says, if you really want to kind of make a difference, or if you want to do something, a teacher will always appear. Provided as a student, you should come forward. I think my second advice would be if you take conscious efforts, you are going to get help from anywhere around the world. So make conscious efforts to go out there and find your why. I think this is something which is very powerful. It can completely make and shift your life to a different angle altogether.
Beautiful, beautiful. So all the guys listening to Kshitij, unlearn, first advice. Second, find your purpose and go there. The environment will conspire to make it happen for you. So lovely, Kshitij. It was a pleasure talking to you. My last question is, how was your experience coming on Leaders and Libraries?
Fantabulous. I think, Rajiv, I don't have words. It was really awesome because I was looking forward to this session. I think many days I was reflecting back. And the beauty was that when I was reflecting back, as I told you about, I was connecting so many dots in my life, which happened. And I realized I never knew that books had so much of a vital role in my life and what it has done to me. And in fact, this whole conversation that you had helped me also to kind of validate my own purpose.
Right.
To build more deeper, I kind of challenge myself, whatever that I was kind of doing, whether it was coming from the purpose or whether it was coming from the what.
Right.
When I was kind of able to express and told you about the difference between fulfillment and happiness, I could figure out during the reflection that I was preparing for this conversation.
Absolutely.
I was also thinking, I was sure that you're going to ask me about what books have done to you and what the Start With book has done to you. And I could figure out that. And I think the cause that you are into, it's very novel. It's very different.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think it's very powerful. It's very, very powerful, Rajiv. I think, especially in today's millennial world, where there are so many distractions around, where we are all glued to tabs, to mobiles, and to the entire world. I think reading is something I feel is kind of is coming back. It's kind of it's like old wine in a new bottle. It has to be done, and I think you are doing that cause in a very different way. I think I really feel genuinely, Rajiv, I think this has that capacity and the potential to make a bigger difference.
Thank you so much. That's very touching. Thank you so much, Kshitij, because my own passion for books became a business model, and the event that we have today, you here as a guest, is just one small step from my side to push few more people to go back to books. And I've had 2-3 guests coming and telling me that I used to read books. There was a pause. Thank you for rekindling the reading habit in me. There was somebody who came and said that I wrote posts almost 7-8 years back. I've not been writing posts, giving a very lame alibi that I don't have time. Thank you for pushing me to pick up that one book and write about it in my blog, which I'm writing after 6-7 years. But these are amazing experiences that just tells you that somewhere the intent was honest and it seems to be impacting a couple of lives. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, because Rajiv, I believe, movies have someone to market out there. You see movies on YouTube, you see movies, trailers, and then they show you a perspective on which you are convinced and you go out and watch.
Correct.
Books have a limited exposure.
Yeah.
When people talk about books, you really see that book from that perspective and you want to pick it up.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's more productive.
Super. Thank you so much, Kshitij, for coming on once again. It was a pleasure talking with you. All the very best with all your books. And I'm hoping that you've picked up the next new book and you're reading that. Which one is that? You want to close with that?
So new book I'm reading is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Okay. One of the guests had mentioned about this particular book. So how is it?
Amazing, Rajiv. I think you should have this next.
Yeah. This
is marginal, tiny improvement. Okay, you're reading this one?
Yeah. Why should anyone be led by you? This is what I'm reading. It's fantastic. So in case you haven't read it, this could be a next book that I would recommend.
I love the title, What It Takes to Be an Authentic Leader.
Absolutely. It's super.
This word authentic is very powerful.
Yeah. And the author actually talks about authentic leadership through the entire book in multiple facets and paradigms. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening. Look forward to meet you when things open up, Kshitij.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
Anytime. Bye.
Bye-bye.